Welcome back to Guns and Coffee, where we have gun talk. If you can, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more gun talk. So today, not your typical cleaning video. So I got this lower a while back and kind of debating what I wanted to do with it, and finally pulled the trigger on a 300 Blackout kit from Palmetto State Armory. So yeah, they got some good deals going on, and gone ahead, jumped on. It pretty much comes with everything you need, minus the strip lower, which was purchased separately. But yeah, pretty much everything you need to get this into a 300 Blackout. So go ahead and go do this build. I've already popped it open. Got anxious. So inside here we got mag pull trigger, guard. Let's see, all the stuff you need for the lower trigger, buffer tube, yeah. So here's the upper. Set this out of the way. So yeah, here it is. It's a 300 Blackout kit. Yeah, pretty much comes with everything you need. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's actually open everything up. Yeah, I'll give you a step-by-step what the parts are and whatnot for all of this. That way you know what to do. I'm trying to get everything opened up here. Directions to install the pistol grip. So here we have it. All your pieces here. So as far as tools go, be using masking tape so I don't scratch up any of the parts. This thing, we may or may not need it. One of the most important things you're going to need is this castle nut tool. This is to tighten down, screw down the castle nut. So it's got 3 notches that hold it down. I did have this one, but I ended up breaking one of these. It's made out of, it looks like cast iron or something. I'm not sure, but this one is not going to break. It is steel, which I don't I do and I don't like it because, I mean, it could possibly scratch the part. I guess not, but anyways. Another thing, you want to make sure you have a set of these hex key sets. You don't need all of these, but you'll need some of the smaller ones. Also have a punch set and hammer. So it's got the rubber side. You could actually screw them off, put different ones on. There's a metal one, brass. So nice to have one of those on hand, as well as, I'm not sure, depending on what your trigger requires, you're going to need a screw for this. Alright, so this one is a hex, so you're going to need a hex that fits that as well. So I guess you could use a flathead screwdriver. I don't know if you can see or not, but you have the option of either or. But some of them it may be a star bit. It just kind of depends on what lower you get and what kind of screw they give you for that. So make sure you check that. And one more thing that I do have is the vise. I'm hoping I don't have to bring that out, but if I do have a vise as well to hold it down. There is the mag vices. I just got a regular vise. I don't have anything fancy, but you can do set the vise, put this on, set this in here while you're working on stuff. So it's your choice. I'm gonna try to avoid it because it is big and bulky, the one that I do have. So all right, I'm gonna start with the magazine release. So unpackage, we'll see these pieces. So you'll have three pieces to it. So you have your magazine catch right here, and then on the other side you have the catch spring and the magazine catch button. So just those three things. Also forgot, I will be using some lubricant to help us with some of these parts as well. Do have the spray stuff. Oh, that's cleaner. Let me see. There you go. There it is. Rim oil. So some spray oil as well if you use the spray. Anyways, so first thing, I like to make sure that all these moving parts do get some oil on them, since we are going to be installing all this for the first time. Make sure you don't get it on the screw. I guess it's not that big of a deal, but alright. So first thing, a little bit of oil on there, stick it through. Then you're going to flip it, and you have your spring. You're doing, drop that in there, and then your magazine catch button. Now, put some tension on it, and then slowly start screwing it. Make sure you don't use too much force and strip it. Last thing you need is to strip parts. So screw it down as far as you can, and what you're going to be doing is lining this up to where you can push the switch. So you want to push it through, and then you'll see you can continue on with your screwing. Screw this a few more times. I think we're good. If you need to, you could use, and again, this is where the vise kind of comes in handy, but you could push this farther out so that way you could get a couple more rounds in, but I just got one more run. All right, so looks good, works. Do have a empty mag, test it out. Catches, stays, releases. So it works. Alright, so next we will be installing the bolt release lever or bolt catch. Find the package that has that. Should be 4 pieces. Make sure you don't lose them. Alright, so you have your bolt catch, you have the bolt catch roll pin, you've got the plunger and a spring. So should be 4 pieces to it. Give it a little lube. Some of these moving parts just makes things a little more easier, especially on the roll pin. Make things easier when you're trying to install that roll pin. So, alright. So first off, I'm going to take the spring. Get a focus on that. So, I don't know if you can see, but there's that little hole right there. So you're going to drop that spring down in there. And take a plunger, little knob, stick that down in there as well. And then you're going to grab your bolt catch, slide that in. Alright, so this is where it's going to get tricky. Right. Get one of these smaller hex. Alright. So it's easiest to stick this down through, just like so. What I'm going to do here too is a piece of masking tape, because we will be hammering right here. I don't want to scuff it up. It's your preference, you don't have to, but didn't want to scuff this up, so I'm gonna just put a piece of masking tape right there. And then what you're going to do is take this roll pin and push this hex out of the way and try to get it started. So I know it's going to be a little bit of a pain to do. See that? Got it started. And basically I'm gonna just keep on tapping away at this. Stick that back in there. Maybe I need a thicker one. There we go. Hammer away. Try this other. It's like a soft rubber. It's like a harder plastic, it looks like. Let's see if that works out better. Yeah, part of that hammer came. Then here, may make it easier if you use punch to get this snug. Again, a vise may make this easier, but it's your choice. Almost snug. Alright, so run your finger along that. Don't feel anything, you should be good. Go ahead and take this masking tape off. Alright, so we got that. Alright, so next we're going to install the, well, get the trigger and trigger spring ready. I know some people go ahead and put in the safety selector right now, but I also heard that it is easier to do the trigger first and then do the safety, because you do have to go under the safety select to get the trigger in. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to install the trigger first and then the safety select later. See how that goes. If you want to comment, let me know your experience or whatnot, but that's how I'm going to do this. Alright, so here's all your trigger and hammer. So you have trigger, hammer, you have springs, 4 each. So you'll notice that there are 2 different springs. So this one's for the hammer, and this one is for the trigger. Right. And then you have the disconnect, and you have the trigger and hammer pins. Are both the same thing, but they do have notches on different spots. You can see that. Right. And then a spring. And if you notice, the spring, one side is wider than the other, which it is important. So we'll get to that here in a minute. So first off, we're going to take the trigger, take the spring, and what you're going to do, make sure it looks like so. Stick that through. What you're going to do, you go. Should look like that. Trying to get it focused. Alright. There's your trigger. Here's your hammer. Hammer is going to be a little bit more rough. So next you're going to do the hammer. The hammer is going to be a little bit more rough, but it is going to look like this. So you're going to take the spring like so, and you're going to have to muscle this over this piece. I don't think there's an easy way to do this. Try to get some of this lube off my hands. Alright, try this again. There we go. So, should look like this. And this is important to make sure that each of these look like so. Yeah. So next we are going to install the trigger and hammer. Alright, so this may be a part where you may need the vise, but again, I'm going to attempt to do it without the vise. So here's the trigger. Before you drop that in there, you're going to take the spring, and the fat side, really can't see it in the screen, but the fat side, you want to make sure that that is down. Just stick it in there like so. And then the disconnector is going to be sitting like that. Alright, so you have the hole, the little holes are going to line up, the spring is going to rest on this little notch right here. So I'm going to hold off on putting that on just quite yet. What I'm going to do, drop the trigger down there. Make sure you line everything up. So it'll be this hole right here that you're going to line everything up to. Move that hammer out of the way. There we go. Alright. So when you do, all it's going to do, you're just resting the springs down. Drop it in there. Line it up on this side. The hole is, stick this hex in. What you want to do is pull it out just enough so you can take this disconnector, drop it down in there as well. That way you can stick it through the disconnector as well. Not good. Go through the other side. Alright, so I'm not pushing it completely through, just enough to kind of hold everything in place. So here, take a little lube on this pin, make sure the one that has the notch in, there's one in the middle and then one on one end. I don't know if you can see it there. So you're gonna take that notch and push it in this way. Hopefully everything should go in smoothly. You have to wiggle it around, or maybe there we go. Almost there. All right. Perfect. So there we have the trigger. And that's why it's easier to wait on the safety select, because you're trying to fight all that. Plus you got that safety select that rests right in here. So there's more parts to fight if you put the safety select in. So alright, so next we're going to do the hammer. So same thing, I'm going to put a little lube on this pin. And then we're going to do, so what you're going to do, see how the hammer is? Got the spring on. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to sit it down in here and then use some, you're going to need some muscle for this, and push down. Alright, so let's try this. Press that. I don't know if you can see. So you're putting that right above, I don't know where the trigger pins are, and then you're going to push it down and line it up with here. Like so. There we go. So it should latch. Alright. See how it did that? Alright, so again, take the pin, the little grooves. There's one in the middle and one at the end, just like the other one. One on the end is going to go in first. And push this hex, hopefully without any issues, out the way. Of course it's giving me. Get that going. All right. Went pretty smoothly. Get that flush. All right. There we have it. So to test this, push this hammer down. It should latch. You hear it latch, and make sure you put your finger over this so it doesn't, you don't dry fire this. And when you pull the trigger, it should release the hammer. All right. And again, pull the trigger. There you have it. So if you hold down the trigger and push this back, you should be able to, there you go, catch. Alright. Works good. Alright, so your next step is going to be the safety select. So should be 3 parts. So you have the safety select switch, your spring, and your safety detent. 3 parts, and also you're going to need your pistol grip as well. So depending on what kind of pistol grip you have, you'll need either a star or a hex or flathead or whatever. So alright, so first step, give everything a little bit of lube. On the safety select, detent, spring as well. Alright, so if you flip this upside down, you could see, let me see the camera, right there, there's a little hole. That's where you're going to drop that detent down in there. So first, take the safety select, stick it in here, and this is the trick. I think a lot of people were having problems. If you try to stick this in, it's in the way. But if you push the hammer down, see that? It's out of the way. Let me do that again. So if you look down the hole, you'll see something blocking it. But when you push this hammer down, see how it went away? There. Alright, so make sure you push the hammer down, and then this should drop right in. So I think people were complaining that it didn't work, and that's why a lot of people were saying you need to put the safety selector in first. Nah, just push that down. Alright, so now flip it, drop the detent, so you'll see there's a pointed side and a flat side. You want to put the pointed side down, drop it down in there, and then this spring is going to put tension down on there. Okay, and if you look on the grip side, there's a little hole where that lands in. So easier if you just stick it down in there and line everything up. There we go. And your hole in there should line up as well. And you take mine's a hex, whatever your screw driver is, and you're going to screw the grip in. I don't know what the torque is, but torque it down. Sure nothing moves. Everything looks good. Alright. Put this little cover back on. Alright. There we have it. Alright, so now that you installed the safety selector, make sure you test it out. Works. Safe. Fire. It won't go in the safe when it's forward. Cock it back, safe. So, works. Alright, so next, going to be installing the trigger guard. This particular one is a Magpul one. And this so it should have your trigger guard and a roll pin. This particular one comes with a set screw. Normally there's like a little indentation pin here, or a little pin that you just push in there, but this one has a set screw and it's plastic. I really don't know how I feel about that, but alright, so find the right hacks on here. Alright, so I'm going to put this set screw in first, maybe, because it doesn't look like it's got any threads in it. So I'll go ahead and thread it outside. So got it started, that way I'm not trying to fight it once it's in position. Yeah, need some grooves in there. Alright, so yeah, I'll go ahead and install this. I may replace this later on, but do this for now. Alright. See the best way it is. Alright, so roll pin, lube, do want lube that up, lube this up right here as well. Not too much, but sure, make this easier. So don't want to break those little tabs, so make sure you have it on something when you're hammering away at this. Get a punch ready. So what I'm going to do first, it's just not, don't like how it sits. Make sure you got something underneath it to support it while you're hammering away at this thing. Get it started. Make sure you line this thing up. Going in there. So everything's lined up, looks good. Let's keep on double checking. You're gonna have to use some force on this. I guess I'm not taking this out, huh? Looks good. Let's continue on. Looks good. Almost there. All right, I'm almost there. There we go. Make sure that thing's flush. All right, I think we're good. All right, didn't break anything. Still looks good. All right, so now for the set screw. And flicks of metal. All right. So again, if you got this one came with a set screw, normally it's just a pin. So you just line it up and you detent the pin and it should go in this hole. This one has a set screw. Again, I don't really care for this, but hey, it is what it is. So screw this in. flush. Alright. There we have it. Trigger guard. A little bit of a pain. I think that required more hammering than any other. Alright, so next we're going to install the takedown pin. So I saved it for last because, I mean, you could do it earlier. Some people do it earlier. But the rear one, you'll be putting the buffer tube on. So that's why I saved it for last. So we're going to find a package of takedown pins. So you should have 2 of them. One's longer than the other, and the longer one has a notch or a cutout. You'll have some, you only need 2 springs and 2 detents. So they give you an extra one in case you lose it, because these are easy to lose. They tend to spring out when you're trying to install them. So, and also we are going to be installing the buffer tube and the buffer tube retainer and retainer spring. So we'll get to that here in a minute. So first off, takedown pins. Start with the front one. So give all these parts a little bit of lube. Put a little lube down in there as well. And back here. I don't have to do a whole lot, just a little bit. Alright, so we'll start with the front one. What we're going to do is we're going to drop the spring down in there, and then we're going to take the detent. So you'll see there's that hole. So I dropped the spring in there, and then you're going to drop the detent. Just like that. And then you're going to take the longer one, and what you're going to do is put pressure on it down as you slide it in that hole. And then you should hear a click. There you go. Now it should be locked in place. There we go. That's it. Pretty simple. And the rear one, so the rear one we're going to hold off for a second because we're going to have to get the buffer tube. Take the castle nut off. So this back plate, I'm going to be replacing this back plate with this back plate. It's got hoops in it for a sling. So here's that. So you have your castle nut, and then if you look on the castle nut itself, the grooves in the castle nut, one's bigger than the other. Okay, so what you're going to do, so let's do this first. So here's a buffer tube. The bigger grooves go this way. And screw this on all the way. Then going to have buffer retainer. Here is the buffer retainer. and the retainer spring. So this will be going right here. Little notch right there. So you'll drop the spring in, and then you'll drop the retainer in there when time comes. Okay. Again, a little bit of lube. Alright. So now what we're going to do is screw the buffer tube on. So before we do that, there's a little notch that protrudes. So it is going to go like that. Okay. It basically holds the detent spring for your rear takedown pins. So you're going to line it up. There's some grooves right here. There's that little nub. You want to slide it on there just like that. And now you're going to be screwing it on. So you want to screw it all the way till you're about to hit the edge of that hole. It's kind of hard to see, but okay. Drop the spring in. Drop the buffer retainer in there. Just like that. And you're going to push this down while you make that last turn. So this last turn should give you just enough to where this piece is facing down. This one had a groove in it, so it locked into place. But there you have it. All right. So before you do all that, I'm going to back it out just a little bit again, and we're going to place these pieces, your rear takedown. Stick that down in there. Make sure the grooves are facing up. Your detent, drop your detent in there. Drop your spring in there. So a few things need to happen here. So as you're turning this, I guess it'd be easier if you go forward. So yeah, mine doesn't allow that. Because of this, it's not allowing me to go any farther than that. For those that don't have the extra hoops, you could actually turn it and turn it a little bit extra this way and then back it out for the spring. I'm going to have to do it this way, where I would drop the spring in and I have to make that turn. So push the spring down. You'll see it'll just ride. And popped out on me. Alright, so there you have it. Doing some funny things here. Come here. doesn't want to cooperate with me today. There you go. So now I got it lined up, as you can see. And then you're just gonna make sure everything's lined up, and then you could screw this castle nut down. Make sure that spring is straight too. You don't want it to be cocked or anything. There we go. There we have it. Yeah, you don't want to pinch that spring. You want to make sure it's going in straight. So a little bit of a hassle since I got these loops. Then you're going to take your castle nut screw and line this up and tighten it down. There we go. Again, I don't know what the torque spec is on that, but there we have it. So takedown pin should work. Push that out. It's not cooperating either. There we go. There we go. In there. Okay. There we have it. All right, so next we're gonna put the stock on, or we're gonna put the buffer tube spring in. So make sure your hammer's down, put it on safety, way it doesn't accidentally pop up or anything. It shouldn't, but so what you're gonna do, drop the spring in, and you're going to push this buffer retainer. I don't know, you can't really see this buffer retainer down as you stick this all the way in there. Okay. Guess you didn't have to. You could use the buffer to push it down as well. There we have it. It is in there. Now the adjustable stock. Line it up, and if you look down in there, you can't see, but if you push this, pull this little knot, this little nub that goes into these adjustable areas will come back. So what you want to do is stick it in there all the way and then pull it out as far as you can and let go. There you have it. Easy as that. So got 1, 2, 3. Alright. So now I get to put the upper on. Push the takedown pins out. Well, before we do that, go ahead and give everything. This is where the, I don't know why I shook it up, but the spray. I like to use the spray and give it a few good sprays in there on all these parts. Alright, now let's put the upper. front. Oh, drop the rear. All right, there we have it. Now, check everything, make sure everything works. Yeah, works. It's an empty magazine. Stick that in there. Got the mag release. Yeah, works. Yep. Mag release works, everything works. So we'll go ahead and test fire this another time. But for now, there is the build for that. 300 Blackout. So, few other things I was going to install. I have here a few gadgets I was going to install as well. So I got some Magpul sights. I got this for the sling, which that piece, as well as I have this for a grip as well. So be installing that another time, but as well as a sight too. I have some sights for it. So there we have it. Go ahead and move this out of the way. This was the 300 Blackout build. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up. If you got any questions, give me some comments below. Till next time. One last thing. I have another strip lower in tan. The question is, what should I build next? What do you guys want to see me build? So if you got any comments or opinions, leave them below in the comment section.